normally come across. When you pick up any pharma patent, it will belong to any of these categories. Starting from NCE. NCE is new chemical compound. All the companies which are into drug discovery per se, which is a so-called ethical business, even generic is equally ethical, as Mr. Parveen has told very, very nicely. So, and passing through the compound library and getting cleared from pharmacology data, initial pharmacology data. I mean, if you do the cell-based assay or all those initial, very, you can say, pre-clinical studies, in those days the NCE patents are filed. So these are called first generation patent, wherein the compound is claimed, or rather compounds are claimed, wherein the pharmacophore is same, but various other types of compound are covered under Marcus type of structure. And I'm sure Marcus type of structure and all will be covered in the later session. So I think Manish and Mr. Acharya is covering those things. So first types of patents, which normally is the first generation patent in pharma, is NCE, which are either covering the generic or species. I mean, the second generation in NCE patents are the species, wherein the actual compound is claimed by the chemical name of the compound or by even putting the salt of that particular compound. Second one is the mechanism of action or method of treatment, or maybe covering a receptor per se in general, that these types of drugs are acting on COX-2 inhibitors. So COX-2 inhibitors covers the inflammation category in general. So that is the sort of a broader type of patent, wherein the method of use is covered or mechanism of action is covered, so on and so forth. Third type is the actual method of treatment, wherein the disease name will be written, that this drug is used to treat for the schizophrenia, like patient in need thereof of schizophrenia. These type of drugs is normally administered, something like that. So these three are common types of patents which normally are there in all the drug discovery product in general, barring the natural product, because natural product you can't get the product patent. So all those chemical compound which passes through drug discovery, these three types are normally you will find in all the compounds. Fourth most important is the formulation. The first formulation, which is normally the branded formulation which is sold in US, is covered, wherein the excipients are covered. If there is any disinfectant is used, that is covered. If there is any morph, is nothing but a different crystal lattice structure of the same API. So they will say that polymorph 1 is not very stable, so polymorph 2 and 3 are more stable, they give more bioavailability. So we will find such polymorph and crystalline habit patents as a fourth or fifth generation patents, which are relatively easy. So that is why I have given the value. And then there is a process patents, the standard techniques which are available, and if they are cost effective, they are claimed by the innovator. So we will have to come up with either novel ways or non-infringing ways to work around the process patent. And then there are certain gene patents which, in my opinion, are the most easiest to either invalidate or bypass, because they will try to cover something which is very, very specific, or something by using the generic gene level definition, which are normally covered by universities. So what this innovator company will do, they will purchase this university patent and they will try to enforce them. So these are extremely broad in nature and they are relatively easy to invalidate. So as and when you go from this ladder to there, the value becomes high. That is why these three patents are the most difficult to crack, and from there you go down, it's relatively easy to crack, either through non-infringement or through novelty in your research. So this is the world of pharmaceutical patents. At least I have not seen any patent which is not falling in any of these categories. I have tried to cover almost 95 to 99% of the basket. Any questions so far?
Yes, in mechanism, alternative purpose, other purpose. a biological screening, can it be patented?
Absolutely. I think my compliments to you. It's a very, very good question. Everybody has understand the question, no? That is USFDA approval. So he is not talking about the approval part. See, regulatory and patent, these are two different bodies, correct? But the use which he found out through his research, the patent can be filed by him and it can be granted to him. So he has that intellectual property, and if researcher doesn't know about this novel use and they have not done any research about that, it is an opportunity for him to sell his intellectual property to the innovator company, and they have to submit to USFDA again for this new indication. They cannot simply market for these two indications. There are off-label use. I mean, the doctor can illegally prescribe, but officially and legally, any new indication has to go through a formal regulatory process. Yeah, please. From the point of view, it's okay. You can market if you have intellectual property, but please understand you are marketing a drug. So drug cannot be marketed in any and every country unless there is a regulatory approval. So if indication X is approved and indication Y, which is a new use, I mean, you have all right to get your patent, but for marketing, you or innovator has to go through a formal regulatory process. And if USFDA, after going through the clinical trials, if they say that yes, whatever you have found out is correct and it is now safe and effective for this indication Y as well, you can very well market that. Sure. Right. It was to encourage inventors to come in the public and disclose their invention. That boss, I have this invention, I should be given the right. Against that, the monopoly rights were given. That boss, you have invented this, you have 20 years rights, you have 20 years monopoly. But marketing cannot be done unless and until the NC patent expires.
No, that Ramapur manufacturer is going to market Ramapur.
They cannot market unless and until they take the right of use patent from you. So that's what. That is exactly. And since you have said Ramapur was an invention of Aventis. They have started with spiro compound, but the actual Ramapur compound per se was first synthesized by Cepracor with same chirality. And Cepracor at that time in US there was a system called first to invent. So Cepracor went into the court that boss, they cannot market Ramapur because the patent belongs to us. So they have a generic patent, but the specific chiral compound patent belongs to us. So Avantis has to first take the patent from Cepracor, they have listed in Orange Book, and then they have started the market. So, and when I was in Lupin, I've worked a lot on PRITS. So I know these are all intellectual games which are played. So Cepracor has identified the chirality when the compound was during drug discovery. Just imagine. That is why it is very important to understand the pipeline of all the companies. You never know X company's pipeline, it is in phase 2, and today you have come out with some novel compound like what Alembic has did. And I don't want to market Alembic, but there was a fantastic example of levetiracetam XR. UCB was the company. Levetiracetam is used for schizophrenia or epilepsy. I think it's epilepsy. And epileptic drug, they are normally given in a sustained release fashion. So it should be extended. So while UCB even think of that, Alembic has filed patent on levetiracetam XR, which is currently listed in Orange Book. And that patent, only the exchange of document has content of the patent. That's it. So that is the potential of early identification, working and converting into revenue. So this is just a small graphical version. How the Indian pharmaceutical, since my topic covers the Indian generic pharmaceutical industry as well. I mean, Indian generic pharmaceutical industry has come a long way. They started with early 1970 or even before that, where only the copying was the primary objective. You simply pick one or two patents from that literature. Came a phase wherein Indian government has recognized the need that was to make themselves well equipped in order to compete with the developed world. So these are some of the phases which Indian generic companies have passed through, like development phase, like growth phase, and we are currently into the phase 4, where we are, I can proudly say that we are at par with, you name any of the multinational companies. Like Indian generic company is challenging or successfully challenging all the litigations which are there. I mean, most of the litigations which are currently fought, you will find at least one Indian company in any product. So we have learned how to innovate, we have learned how to research, we have learned the patent laws of other countries, and we have mastered them. And we are going in their territory, challenging them, saying that boss, we are not infringing, come to the court of law and we will prove that in generic we are getting into drug discovery. I mean, we are not successful, very handful of companies they are successful. So as an Indian generic company, we cannot say that we are 100% successful, but we are taking a step forward in drug discovery. So we have already done the generic mastering of generic strategic research and how to enter or crack generic IP portfolio of innovative company. But discovery research, I think in the times to come, we will master that art as well. Many companies like Dr. Reddy's, Zydus, Torrent, Glenmark is successful to some extent. Orchid is one or two molecules are in the late phase. But barring these 2-3 companies, I don't see many molecules which are actually coming into the market very frequently from India, especially from the Vegan's drug discovery. Even if you see Glenmark, they are simply selling the molecule. They are not going to the end of the cycle. Because as you go along, I mean, Manish in his lecture, he will very fantastically explain how a journey of a drug. So from drug discovery, how a drug actually comes to the market. So the actually risk is, as you move forward, as you move to NDA filing, as you move to phase 1, the failures are more, the chances of failure are more. So Indian companies are not taking that risk to that extent. They are selling the molecule after preclinical, they are selling the molecule after phase 1, So I would like to see a day when we are also equally competitive in drug discovery, and it will come in another 5-6 years from now. Sorry. So Indian generic company, as I told you, we are now globally competitive, and yes, China is giving us a little bit of competition, but as far as the quality is concerned, as far as the cracking of or understanding the patent laws are concerned, I think we are by far the best. China can produce cheap quality or cheap drugs, you can say. Quality can be, nowadays they are improving the quality. But as far as the communication, as far as the quality, authenticity, credibility, consistency, I think Indian generic pharmaceutical industry is way ahead than Chinese companies, particularly in formulation. I am not talking about the API and intermediates. Number of generic companies are filing, number of ANDA filings are rising day by day. Number of patent shoots are being won by Indian companies. They are getting into settlement. Innovative companies are now started to believe that no, boss, if it is coming from Torrent, Sun or Dr. Reddy's, let's better have a look at it. I mean, we have filed 22 ANDA para 4 and we have not been filed shoot for even a single mastered by Indian pharmaceutical companies. Intensification of branded generic patent litigation, and now the race is early generic filing. The identification of the product should be as early as possible, generation of IP should be as early as possible, and then take the early generic filing advantage. Now it is like a movie, first week जितना धंधा करती है वो मूवी बस उतना ही धंधा है, नेक्स्ट वीक में कोई और मूवी आ जाएगी. So the life of a product, the life of a business is getting shorter. So people want to take benefit of 180 days exclusivity because the prices are slashing, the margins are reducing the moment more generic companies are entering. So people want to get early in the race, and Indian generic companies are early in many of the products. Company keeping IP into loop. This could be an ideal strategy, like identification of the right product mix. You should have a product vision. No strategy is a plain strategy. In pharma industry, I should have a strategy. For Ramipri, for a sartan, I should have a strategy. For a macrolide, I should have a strategy. I cannot have a blanket strategy that I will file generic ANDA filing and I will do it. No. Now it has the time that you need to have a right product mix. Sometimes you have to choose a product with intensive or X, Y, Z because of some patents. There could be like atorvastatin. Now even now the patents are coming, keeps on coming. So they are highly crowded. So you need to identify the right product mix. You have to understand the patent portfolio. You need to develop an appropriate IP strategy from day one. That if I am going to formulate this, whether it will be a chiral compound, whether it will be made chiral going forward, company will come up with some chiral specific brand extension, company will come up with some novel crystalline form. These are new salt patents which are already there in literature, which means they will come up with new salt or they will market. Sometimes what happens, innovator will come up with an extension and they will kill the old product intentionally because they have an IP portfolio around the new product. Many companies do that. It's part of IP and marketing combined strategy. So we need to identify those whether the extension could be possible in the beginning itself. And this is very well possible even before the launch of the product. You can go through the literature, you can go through the IP portfolio, you can go through the article. Then you will have to identify there are certain dubious patents from any product patent portfolio. You come across 85, 90 patents. Not possible that all 90 patents will be granted. So you will have to find out that which patents you are challenging, which patents you are filing non-infringement, and then I think 1 or 2 slides are there. So then you have to enter the market to get the early entry advantage. So these are the 5 strategic points which any pharmaceutical company has to look into, in order to become a successful generic pharmaceutical. And you can see IP is an integral part of the entire strategy. I have just taken a one case study, wherein Impex is a generic company. They have identified one molecule, and which is basically a sustained release formulation of butyropure, and they have challenged one patent. Now, what they have done, they have come up with a non-infringing formulation, and the patent, it was claimed that hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose as a sustained release agent, very very specific. And if you go through the prosecution history, somewhere they have actually surrendered the other excipient which is giving the equal effect. So this generic companies they have actually identified that, and they have filed the ANDA para 4. And in the court of law, the court has actually given the judgment in the favor of Impex, and they have said that when you are claiming any sustained release excipient, you have to cover the broader aspect. Why you have not covered HPC at that point of time may end up being a phenomenal idea, and it will give you a tremendous competitive advantage. And this was the lesson that when you draft any particular patent, you need to be as broad as possible at the time when you construct the claims. Afterwards, the foreseeability part comes, and it becomes very difficult to claim any broader part under doctrine of equivalence, something which you have already surrendered during the examination. This is one small pyramid which I laid down. It starts from corporate philosophy. and it actually goes to the revenue generation. And I think this is the theory. We have understood the fantastic practical example of Alza and Sapracor, and they have practiced the same. They have actually converted the corporate philosophy into revenue through IP somewhere down the line. These are some of the steps. As I told you, we need to evaluate the current IP portfolio, you need to define the approach, then identify new areas which are untapped, or you have your own competency to take those ideas. You will have to develop the organizational capabilities, and then you have to measure the performance and review periodically, and it will ultimately convert it into revenue, which we have already seen. I think that concludes my presentation with one fantastic example. I can proudly say that I was part of drafting this patent. This patent fetched 150 crore for Lupin. It was one particular patent. This patent was nothing but a technology patent which will give you perindopril with high purity. And the quality of perindopril which was produced through this technology was better than innovator. So when Surveyor was the brand leader of that company, when they came across this patent, they have approached Lupin that you demonstrate this technology in plant and we will purchase this patent. Our scientists went there, they have successfully demonstrated this technology, and Lupin got 150 crores. So with this, I once again thank you.